This is an FIU Composer 2.0 help video. The main topic is the person, and this video is about the stance manipulation. So let's go into Composer real quick. We'll add a person and a headlight. Let's set up our working set and get to the stance. So the stance has a perspective view, so one finger tumbles and two fingers pinches. Stays fairly well centered on the person. Okay, and we get a whole bunch of handles, and this is probably the maximum sort of number of handles that you really want on the screen at the time. This is pushing how much you really want to deal with at any one point in time as far as touch handles. But the basic point of this is to be able to manipulate how the person is standing, how their feet and their pelvis sort of are orient them in the world as far as how they're really situated. As I sort of pull him around here and sort of move his center of gravity around, you sort of get a sense of what parts of the body are really available to you in this case to sort of set the overall tone of how your person is really sort of planted in the world. Okay. And so we'll just go through the handles as they exist when they first open here. You've got up here in green, you've got the pelvis, which you can move around just by pulling around the positional locator, and then we've got a rotator. And like all of these rotating handles, it rotates along an axis as if there was just a pole pointing straight into the screen. So if you want him to bend forward, you just move along to the side and bend him that way. If you want to move him to the side, you just sort of go to his front and then pull him around to whatever side you want. Okay, so that's the basic component of the pelvis. However, it also has this little icon in the upper right-hand corner that looks like two little circles. And what that means is that there's double tap functionality. So if you double tap it, what you'll see change is it says pelvis pinned limbs. If I double change it, it says all follow. And when the limbs are in all follow mode and I drag it around, you'll notice the feet no longer stay planted to the ground. And also if I rotate him, he sort of picks up off the ground. So this can be useful for, if both feet get off the ground, you really just need to reposition him closer down. Or if you intend to make him fly, you can just sort of pull him up in sum total. It's just a useful utility manipulation that's available to you to sort of get imposed the way you want. And then if we double tap it again, it goes back to pinned limbs, which is the default where the feet stay where you left them. Okay. And then the red and the blue represent sort of left and right. And each leg is the same, where at the bottom we've got what we refer to as the foot control, which is again positional, so you can just sort of move the foot around in space, and then you can also rotate the foot around in space using the same kind of a rotation as you can on the pelvis. And it too has a double tap function. It says rpin world, and then we also can have it in a mode where we say follow. And when you have it in follow mode, what happens is the foot, while you can pull the foot around in space from the ankle, the foot follows the shin. Right, so it's like a kicking motion, or what you would think of as an FK, forward kinematic motion, or kicking motion, where the foot, sort of hinges off of the shin, which is good for doing kicks and sweeps. But when you sort of put the foot on the ground and you intend the foot to sort of stay stuck to the ground, and you just want to move the foot around, using this pin world mode, rotation pin world mode is more intuitive for someone who's walking. And so you can toggle between those two modes depending on how you're trying to change the pose. You also have the knee controller, which just allows you to pull the knee around, because it's pretty easy to sort of get yourself in a position where it doesn't make sense, and where you need the knee to place in a different spot relative to what's going on. So when you need to pull the knee, because it's the foot's in the right place and the pelvis is in the right place, but the knee is going the wrong way, you can just drag it where it needs to go. And the right leg is exactly the same as the left leg. It's just obviously on the right side. And that's really all there is to the handles and sort of on-screen manipulation of the stance, of the stance manipulation. I would just point out, as I did in the other video, that generally you want to make sure that that your character sort of stays centered over their SRT if you're building pose libraries. And so one convenient way to do that, like let's say that, well, let me go pull them off. The same way that you pull them off is the same way that you put them on. So you just get out a pinned limbs into all follow, and let's say somehow I managed to actually set up his pose back here. If I go back into SRT, you'll see he's off of it, and I want to fix that before I save it. A good way to do that is to go into the stance pose and just go into all follow mode, and then just sort of move him back to where you intend for him to be. It doesn't affect, in this mode, but in all follow mode, specifics of the pose aren't really being affected. The pose is staying rigid, and I'm just sort of moving him back over the SRT. Now I've effectively fixed that. That's it. That's the stance manipulation. It's a good way it's a good way to start your pose. Different people, animators, character animators might prefer to start with the torso rather than the stance, or vice versa. So that's it. That's the stance.